Howdy again everyone. Now, TTArtisan are a lens manufacturer with a track history of making various very low budget optics, often manual focus. Today they appear to be releasing a higher quality autofocus lens for Sony's E-mount and Nikon Z-mount cameras, the TTArtisan 75mm f2 autofocus. It's a full frame lens and its price will only be about $200, a potential bargain. Well, if it's any good, that is. I'd like to thank TTArtisan for sending me a copy of this lens for testing, although as usual this is a totally independent review. We'll be looking at both its strengths and its weaknesses. $200 is a very reasonable price for a full-frame autofocus 75mm f2. Lenses like this not only tend to offer good image quality, but also get you quite stunning pictures overall, especially for portrait work. On a full-frame camera they can get you an especially out-of-focus background, and I like shooting at 75mm. It offers a lovely out-of-focus background, but not one that's so compressed that it disappears into oblivion. This TTArtisan offering is about an average size and weight for a lens of its type. Actually, it's slightly smaller than I expected. The metallic build quality is a cut above, feeling lovely and solid. Unfortunately, no weather sealing can be seen here, although we do at least get a metallic lens mount, and the lens cap itself has a USB-C port for future firmware updates. At the side we don't get an auto manual focus switch, but we do get an aperture ring. That aperture ring turns with nice positive clicks every third of an f-stop. It does have a very slight click to turn it to automatic mode, but that click is a bit gentle. Sometimes it seems to wander out again, which can be annoying. Then comes the metallic manual focus ring, which also turns extremely smoothly. The focus motor's response to the focus ring is nice and quick. As you can see here though, the lens also suffers from moderately strong focus breathing, which can be annoying for video makers at this sort of focal length. As you can see in this footage, the lens's autofocus motor is a little slow, whether shooting in single shot or continuous autofocus modes. The focus motor works silently, but my copy had accuracy problems, missing my subject about 20% of the time. So be sure to check that your copy of the lens is working properly and getting sharp images. The lens's filter thread size is 62mm wide, and it comes with a basic little plastic hood in an interesting, slightly square shape. It can still be reverse mounted onto the lens though. Overall, the build quality is perfectly fine here for a lower budget optic, certainly a step above cheaper plastic lenses. It works real nice. Okay, well, let's take a look at image quality. We'll start on a full-frame camera, my Sony a7R III, with its 42-megapixel sensor. In-camera corrections are turned on here. In the middle of the image at f2, we see excellent sharpness and contrast right away. Corner image quality is a bit softer, but for such a low-budget option, this is actually fairly good. f2.8 looks a little brighter, f4 sees a touch more contrast. Sharpness is great here, but it's not razor sharp. The lens stays this sharp down to f11, although f16 looks softer due to the effect of diffraction. Overall though, on a full-frame camera, this is a fantastic performance for such a low-budget lens. So let's see how well the lens works on a 24-megapixel APS-C camera now. Again, at f2, sharpness and contrast are excellent in the middle. Corner image quality is a bit softer here. f2.8 looks about the same, and oddly so does f4. f5.6 and f8 look slightly sharper though. The lens stays this sharp down to f11, but f16 is softer due to diffraction. Well, that's interesting. Turns out the lens's corner image quality is just about sharp enough for full frame, but it's stretched a bit too far on APS-C. Alright, let's turn off in-camera corrections and take a look at distortion and vignetting on full frame. Moderately strong pincushion distortion is visible here, but vignetting at f2 is worryingly high. Stop down to f2.8 or f4 for those corners to brighten up, so that's an average performance. The lens focuses only averagely closely for a short telephoto optic. It definitely won't be mistaken for a macro lens anytime soon. At f2, sharpness is fairly good, but not perfect. f2.8 is better, and f4 is razor sharp now. Okay, how about work against bright light? Oh dear, as you can see, we have to put up with all kinds of flaring problems here, so you're definitely best off using the lens's hood and keeping bright light away from your images. An important question for this lens obviously will be the quality of its bokeh, and it's averagely smooth here, looking quite nice and soft in most situations. Specular highlights look very good here too, although when they're especially bright, they have just a slight edge to them. And finally, related to bokeh comes longitudinal chromatic aberration. Good news here, it's so low, even at f2, as to be virtually inconceivable. Overall, well, this TTArtisan lens is a fantastic little performer optically for the very low price you have to pay for it, and it can get you some fantastic images. Well, if you can work with its rather uncertain autofocus motor, that is, you'll definitely need some patience there. Be sure to check your images are in focus. The lens comes recommended, but seriously, check your images are in focus with it, okay? Alright, thanks for watching everyone. Nice to see a new 75mm lens hitting the market, an interesting little focal length. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters. Your support has been keeping this channel going sponsorship free for years now, and supporters get all kinds of exclusive bonus content, not to mention early access to a lot of my reviews. Check it out in the description below, and ciao for now everyone.